All right, so we had some couple of questions on 16.5. We're going to do number 9 first. So on number 9, the first thing you're going to have to do is factor out that negative 1. So you're going to be left with x squared plus, or that'll be a minus x minus 6 equals 0. And then you could solve this just by factoring. So it'll be x. Now what are your factors of negative 6 that add up to a negative 1? So it's going to be a minus 3 plus 2. Then you just have to solve it. So x minus 3 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, plus 3, x equals a positive 3, and then minus 2, x equals negative 2. Now the next one we had was number 11, which we're going to solve by completing the square. And on number 11, it just says use the expression b squared divided by 4a to determine the constant. So we just want our plus c. So that's what we're going to add to it. And we're going to do b squared divided by 4a. So our a is 25, our b is 10. So it'll be a is 25 and b is 10. So it'll be 10 squared divided by 4 times 25, which is 100 divided by 100, which your answer is 1. So for number 11, your answer is 1. Now the next question we had was problem 13. And on 13 it says solve the following quadratic equations by completing the square. So the first thing you have to look at is if that's a perfect square, which 49 is a perfect square. So we can go through and solve this by completing the square. So since there is a number in front of the x squared, we're going to use our b squared divided by 4 times a. So our b is 28, and 28 squared is, so 28 squared divided by 4 times 49. So 28 squared is 784, and then 4 times 49 is 196. So what we're going to add to this is going to be 784 divided by 196. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. So we're going to go here. So equals 4. So we're going to add a 4 here. And we're going to add a 4 here. So now this right here, you completed a perfect square trinomial. So it's going to be 7x plus 2 squared equals 1. Now, to get rid of that squared, you're going to take the square root. And remember, you have to do that on both sides. So square root, square root. So you're left with 7x plus 2 equals 1. And then 7x plus 2 equals negative 1. Now when you solve this, just solve for x. So minus 2, so 7x equals negative 1, divide by 7. So x equals negative 1/7. Then we got to solve on this one. So minus 2, negative 3 equals 7x, divide by 7. So x equals negative 3/7. So this negative 3/7 and negative 1/5, those are your answers there. Now, 13, I believe 18 was the last question. So number 18 says, okay, so number 18 says, complete the trinomial so it is a perfect square. So since there's nothing in front of the x, you're going to use your b, so it's going to be just the c equals b divided by 2 squared. So your b is 18. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 squared is 81. And that's all you're going to have to do with that. So if you look at number 20, it's pretty similar to that. So c equals b divided by 2 squared, since there's nothing in front. So it's going to be b is negative 100 divided by 2 squared. So that would be 2,500. So I hope that helps. And if you would like to, here's the word problem that we can go through. So they said solve this by completing the square. So we're going to factor out a negative 16, or sorry, not a negative 16. We're going to factor out a negative 1. So it's going to be 16t squared minus 24t, and then minus 50 equals 0. So if we're going to solve this by completing the square, we have to get the 50 on the other side. So it'll be 16t squared minus 24t equals 50. And then we're going to complete the square, so we're going to add something to both sides. So since there is something in front of the t, we're going to use our b squared divided by 4a. So our b is 24. So 24 squared is 576. So we'll do 24 squared divided by 4 times 16. So 576 divided by 4 times 16, which is 64. So it's going to be a 9. So we're going to add 9 to both sides. So now, with this being a perfect square trinomial, 4t, it's a minus 24, which makes this a negative 3 squared equals 59. So then this is going to break off into the two equations. So 4t minus 3 equals 59, or square root of square root of 59, and then 4t minus 3 equals negative square root of 59. So we're going to add 3 to both sides, or I think they want you to actually find the real answer since they're dealing with a number. So 59 square root is 7.68. So we'll go to a positive 7.68. And this will be a negative 7.68. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. Now we can already tell that this is going to be a negative number, and whenever you're dealing with a real life word problem, you cannot have a negative number. So we can just get rid of that. So we're going to add 3, 10.68 equals 4t. So 10.68. Then divide both sides by 4. So the time is 2.67 seconds. Now, I didn't put any word problems on the quiz. It's just basic problems. But yeah, that's how you solve all those problems. If you have any questions, please reach out and I can help you out with some more. Thanks.